Welcome to the show. Brushing off a few cobwebs. It's been a few weeks since we were live. It's a whole new show. The 4IR at speed, people, process, tech. It's about bringing you the maximum value in around 30 to 45 minutes. Now, we've crammed a lot into the show. Nish, welcome, my co-host. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you doing, Andrew?
Yeah, the sun is rising over here, and I guess it's setting over there in the UK, yeah?
Yeah, it doesn't rise in the winter here anyway.
Yeah, right. You're in northern Finland. Look, we've crammed plenty into the show. We're going to do a new section right at the front end, really fast, about 5 minutes. We're talking innovation, design, engineering, and manufacturing in the show. Then we've got some thought-leading views coming on, and we're picking up on the latest manufacturing innovations, and we're pulling on Christoph Grauer for 5-minute section from him. And then we've got a new little segment right after that. It is 5 minutes, and we call it the Lion's Den. It's an opportunity for people, organizations to come on for a 3-minute little pitch to tell us their products and or their services, and for Nish and I to have a little run, and potentially Christoph as well in the future, to see how good they really are. And then after that, we're going the main event for each show. Yeah, when we're going to bring on a very special guest. We're going to walk them through a 4-minute quickfire round, and then I'm handing the reins over to Nish to get the whole main discussion underway, all to do with Industry 4 and smart manufacturing technologies. And we're diving pretty deep in there. So this week, we're doing XR, MR, AR, and VR. Yes, everyone. We will love your views. We will love your questions. We're going to be picking them up as we go through. So please don't hold back. Agree, disagree, or questions to ask. Throw them into that feed. Just punch them in there, and we'll be picking them up as we go through the show. So let's get the show on the road. The 4IR news, yes, straight in. Nish, Elon Musk is now the richest man in the world. In the last 3 or 4 days, he's overtaken Jeff, because we know him as Jeff, and he has become that richest man. Amazing to think all these different multiple businesses he's got on the go. He's made a number of predictions for this year, 2021. He is talking, firstly, FSD. You know what that is? Full self-driving, everyone. Yep. This year, I think he made the claim last year, but this year it's really happening. On top of that, he's bringing in robo-taxis as well. The idea is he's going to undercut. In fact, no, he's not. You are going to undercut Uber, because Uber currently costs around $3 to $4 per mile. Whereas the new ride-sharing app that comes with the Tesla or the robo-taxi is going to deliver per mile 18 cents a mile. So in other words, what you do is you buy your Tesla, you sit in your home, you enable the app, and people can just be picked up with full self-driving. It is crazy. I love it. And I know we're all going, oh, it's dangerous, autonomous driving, all those things. Well, it's going to happen at some point. It may be fleets first, I don't know, trains and all that stuff before the consumer gets into it. But it is happening. So I don't know. What do you think, Nish? Is it happening this year?
Oh, well, it's already progressing, and I've been attending the CES today. I can see the automotive companies all talking about self-driving, electrification. I mean, everything that Tesla has been doing for the last couple of years, the prime automotive companies have started to pick up on. So the next few years are going to be really interesting, and the disruption is definitely in the market. And there's nobody better to drive that than Elon Musk. So him having more resources is even better for the world.
Yeah, all that money coming in. I agree. The second prediction he's got, everyone, is satellite internet. Internet is going to be really rolling out at scale. What you might not have realized is that while we've all been hunkered down with COVID, he's been punching into space 60 satellites per month, 2 per day. He's been putting up there. He's now got 1,000 orbiting the Earth. He's promising to deliver 50 to 150 megabytes per second. And he's going to start with the US, as you might expect, and then roll it out from there. Now, he's got approval, wait for it, for 12,000 satellites. And to put some context into that, there's only ever been 10,000 satellites launched in the history of mankind anyway. And that's pretty astonishing. And he's talking to the Australian government of being the ISP for 5G. Amazing. Amazing.
No, it is. I mean, connectivity is the key enabler for the future, especially with 5G. And I think where countries are still struggling to get broadband internet to most places through satellite linkage, if we can get that to remote places, that's going to be beneficial for everybody.
Exactly. His third prediction is we're going to return to the moon, and we're going to have our first space race on the moon in the form of a buggy. So we're going to have buggies racing on the moon this year, where it's going to be the first step in colonizing space. I know he's got this big ambition to go to Mars and to be living there. So he's getting that going. And then the fourth prediction is solar shines, which is energy storage growing faster as a business than Tesla Automotive, apparently. So the idea is you've got your Tesla power wall that you install in your home, you get your solar power, you pull the power in, and you resell it to the grid. So what's really fascinating, which goes back to the whole kind of Nikola Tesla history, legacy, is really kind of bringing things to the common man. And his idea is he sells you something and you make money out of it. I mean, that's got to be a pretty proven model. Good for him. I don't know. What do you think? Is that going to happen?
Really. I mean, it's all reducing the cost of ownership for their products and enabling the people to do more. The concept itself is already being run by Nissan Leaf, for example, in UK. Yeah. You can be selling any excess energy back to the national grid. So it's all doable, and it all adds up to actually reduce the cost of ownership. And if you think about adding that to, you can actually run your Tesla as a taxi while sitting at home. You potentially, it's costing you far less than what a traditional car would cost.
Exactly. Which makes up for kind of the cost difference which exists today with an EV, which obviously over time economies of scale are going to be coming down as well. So
exactly.
There we go. Okay, good. That's really a bit of a 4IR news section. Quick comments from the audience. What's the best way for engineering manufacturing XR? Okay, that's going to come in later. We're covering XR a little later in a great detail. So 5 minutes is up. Let's jump into manufacturing innovation for 2021. Christoph Grauer, hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, Andrew, I'm good. Hey, Nish, how are you guys?
How's Miami?
Nice and sunny.
Cool for this time of year, hey? Pretty good.
Yeah.
70s. Yeah.
Yeah, in the 70s still. We don't complain.
So we're talking what is going on 2021 in smart manufacturing, because as I see it, the manufacturing world has taken a devastating blow over the year, frankly, of COVID. We've got a long way to go to get back up there. At a macro level, they say there are 3 pandemics per century. Put some context into that. We've had 7 major viruses and 1 pandemic already, and we're only 20% through the century. What can we do to not be caught with our pants down again? What's going on smart manufacturing 2021? Christoph.
That's a good question. So we spoke to our customers and our prospects as well as consulting peers in order to see where are companies willing to invest, what are their plans for the future, especially short-term plans 2021. And we came up with 4 major areas, basically, where companies really want to go this year. And number 1 is they want to increase their flexibility and agility. And how can companies achieve that, right? I mean, first of all, they need to know what's happening. They need to know what's going on inside their factories. So there is a trend. They want to increase in solutions like MES and other stuff to get real-time visibility about their production processes. That's the first part, because that's the only way how they can really act and adjust and adapt to the situation. The second area, and is also very interesting how this pandemic helped to shape this, is digital twin. If you look at that digital manufacturing piece, there were companies out there during that pandemic, textile companies that all of a sudden started to produce personal protection equipment, right? So it's a similar product or related product, but again, it's a new product. So this was one thing, and then you also see companies introducing or increasing or changing their product portfolio because demand is changing. So with a digital twin solution, basically, you can really not only design this product virtually and all its components, but you might also change your factory layout, your manufacturing processes. So therefore, these solutions are really great. You can figure out any weaknesses or any inefficiencies in the process already in the virtual version before you really go and hands-on and start bending material on the shop floor.
Okay.
The third area, I think what has really, the COVID stuff proved it, as very fragile is the supply chain and supply chain network. We have seen OEMs that had to shut down completely production because key components from their suppliers could not be delivered. So in the first shot, I think a lot of companies will rethink their strategy when it comes to supply chain. If they will go with multiple vendors or even think about bringing certain components back in-house to be more independent, I would say, and not to rely on partners. And if they rely on them, then there's the whole question, how do we collaborate with our suppliers? Supply chain collaboration solutions, right? To make this really a seamless process and as efficient as possible. So that's the third trend. The fourth one that you can really see, I think, it will never be like before COVID-19. I think that's really a common message I get from the market. So we have seen the most vulnerable asset that a company has is its workforce, which was heavily affected now by COVID-19. So how can a company become, I would not say disruption-proof or bulletproof for the future? Because I'm pretty sure the next pandemic or the next crisis is just around the corner or could be around the corner. So we will see a lot of investments in automation, in robotics, in this whole area of lights out manufacturing to become really less dependent on the workforce because stuff happens. So I think that's a major trend. This doesn't mean that all these jobs are gone. I'm not saying that. But again, we will have growth in other areas. I don't think it will be the traditional way of working as we are.
I think the roles will be changing, right, in industry. And we already see that. Getting workforce on the shop floor is already a difficult job today. And we've been talking about smart manufacturing for some time, and we've seen the need for that just been enhanced due to COVID.
Yeah, definitely.
So what is holding people back from this digital twin? Because we've been talking about this for years, and you meet several industry sectors that say, yeah, we've been doing it for years, but the reality is nobody's really delivered that end-to-end digital twin. It's not consistent. What's holding people back?
I think there are several reasons. Again, I would say some industries that were really advanced that and were like the early adopters were really aerospace companies. A lot of these aircraft manufacturers, for them, they are doing a digital mock-up all the time. This is like, old stuff for them. I think it really depends. It really depends on the size of an organization. Then it's change management. We had this in multiple shows now. Right? No one wants to be the first guy. We are used, or we are very comfortable with the way we are doing things, right? And as long as we are basically making enough money, there is no need. Or for a lot of people, there is no need to change, right? We start changing if we feel the pain, actually.
Yeah. If your share price is going down or whichever. Got it. Okay, good. Christoph, thank you. So next time around, you're going to bring us the latest manufacturing innovation technology. Thanks for your views on 2021. I think we're set. We'll see you soon.
All right. Pleasure.
Okay, everyone, let's move into our Lion's Den section quickly. Another 5 minutes gone, another 5 minutes coming up, where teams and organizations come on to introduce their product and their service. Let's do this. Okay. Welcome back, Christoph.
Chris, long time no see.
Hey,
Yeah, we thought we'd give you that shot to extol your virtues on what it is you're up to. Manufacturing execution systems, they are these big things that many consulting and system integrators like to roll for a couple of years plus, boil the ocean, waterfall it in, and everybody's making money except the end customer who basically wants a solution. So what have you got to tell us about?
Absolutely, Andrew, and you are spot on your comments. So what we did is we took the leading manufacturing software from Dassault Systems, and again, leading in the Gartner Magic Quadrant since years, and we really made it now affordable. We found a way to make it affordable also for smaller organizations to benefit from that great solution. So what did we really do? We really pre-packaged, pre-configured the Delmia Apriso and Delmia Autumns solution, and offer it as an easy to implement package to the customers. So from a footprints perspective, if you look right now, there is a planning and scheduling core.
Okay.
This really allows you to load level your production, okay, with finite capacity, and take into consideration all the manufacturing constraints that you might have, like stock levels, your bottleneck machines, your machine capacity, but also resources and skill sets available.
Yep.
That's the first step in order to have a proper production schedule, to take that all into consideration before it comes to the execution piece, where we then basically transfer these optimized orders into Apriso and really allow to execute production execution, having electronic work instructions displayed, which could come from your PLM system or any other engineering solution that you have. We are connected down to the shop floor to any kind of equipment. So we collect downtime reasons, for example, machine uptime, measure the OEE, because what are we all interested in? How are we doing? Let's have common KPIs across the enterprise. Let's do benchmarking. So going back to this whole visibility aspect, which I mentioned earlier. And the third part is really, it is very, very agnostic. So it can be interfaced and integrated with any kind of ERP or PLM solution out there. It is agnostic to any kind of shop floor equipment. So no matter if your PLCs or your hardware is coming from Siemens, Rockwell, or whatever it is, so you are completely agnostic with that solution. And now the interesting part is we promise you up and running in 8 weeks. We really have an agile implementation approach, okay, because also we are fed up with these long-term projects. Of course, there are assumptions, okay? If we talk about an 8-week cycle, of course, we will not connect 500 machines in 8 weeks, right?
Sure.
So there are some scope definitions in place, but I would say it's a bold statement that you will get 80% of the whole footprint, according to ISO 95 for level 3 MES at 20% of cost and time of a typical, let's say, Delmia Apriso or Autumns implementation.
Got it. Impressive. Nish, you buying it?
Yeah, I mean, MES, I think it's is one of the traditional software that we're still talking in the smart manufacturing world about. And I think the implementation is what puts a lot of companies off. So if you can achieve that in that timeline, I mean, that's just amazing.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Christoph, in a few days' time, you and I think, are going to be doing a live webinar. I would love to find out a little bit more about it in terms of the details of how it really happens and what you get for your money and what you get potentially in 8 weeks as well. So let's take another look at that. And this is called MDS Lite. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's absolutely correct.
Okay, good. Thank you, sir. And thanks for stepping in to do our first Lions Den. Much appreciated. And we'll see you in a few days with your latest innovations, as we said earlier. Good.
Absolutely.
Good.
My pleasure, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks. All right, everyone, we're going to move on to now our main event and our special guest. When you think about the internet revolutionizing the world, to me, this is the next one. It is going to just take over, and it is the next revolution coming up. Probably the next big thing.
Yeah, and I mean, XR, MR, VR, these are things, we talk about in the gaming industry, but it's now coming to the core industry. And we've got the head of Simlanis, Raman Talwar, coming up next, who's been one of the most successful AR/VR companies in India, delivering cross-sector solutions. So yeah, let's get started.
Okay, everyone, let's go. Let's get him on. Roman, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Thank you, Andrew. Thanks for having me here.
Pleasure. You are the envy of us all. You were telling us you are on 5G now. Is that right?
Indeed, I am. Yes. High speed internet.
Good for you. Where are you based?
I'm based out of Delhi in India.
Fantastic. 5G live, crisp picture you got over there. That's great. This is what we're doing today. We're doing 4 minutes, 8 questions, rapid fire, quick fire rounds. Get you through that quickly. I'm sure you're ready for it. And after that, I'm going to hand over the reins to Nish, who's going to join us and have that main discussion and deep dive into XR, MR, AR, VR. So if you are ready, sir, I'm going to get that clock started, and here we go. All right, first question. What are the top 3 characteristics of an entrepreneur?
So I think patience, hard work, and resilience, I think are the top 3 qualities of an entrepreneur. And each of these qualities have to be showcased at some point or the other during the journey.
Got it. Good. What's been your personal greatest achievement so far?
So I think starting Simulanis and getting it to win the national award from the Government of India in the domain of our work, which is skill development and leveraging XR technologies to do so, was the greatest achievement and has been the greatest achievement so far.
When did you get that quickly?
So that was the national award. We won that from the Government of India. This was in 2017.
Great.
And that was great. That was a great occasion for us.
Good man. Okay, which entrepreneur do you most admire and why?
I personally admire Jeff Bezos a lot, the CEO, the founder of Amazon. Just the ability to think through businesses and do so in a 10 to 15 year horizon period is quite incredible. I think that's pretty much something which kicked off the e-commerce revolution in the world, and that alone is quite incredible, I feel.
Great. What's the best advice you can give to those coming out of education today?
So I think the best advice I could give to people would be to think out of the box. Very, very critical to learn commercial skills in today's world. Practicing interpersonal skills, because these are the skills which really come in handy, not only in the job world, but also in an entrepreneurial experience. So these would be my advice. This would be my advice for those coming to college.
If you had to pick one technology that's been having the greatest impact in industry today, what would it be?
Definitely artificial intelligence and computer vision. I think the end impact for these technologies has massive implications across industries, and these would be my pick.
AI and computer vision. Got it. Okay. And what do you consider the greatest opportunity in manufacturing improvement today?
So again, centering around what I said earlier in terms of AI and computer vision, I think if these technologies could be leveraged to cut out the defects in real time, I think that could be one of the greatest opportunities in manufacturing improvement.
Good. Okay. When do you see the consumer world embracing AR, VR?
Not too soon from now. So my answer is 2023. I say that because that'll be the year of reckoning when Apple launches its AR and VR headsets. These headsets are combining AR and VR together into one piece of great hardware. And when Apple does it, you really have to kind of sit back and notice. So my say would be 2023. That'll be the year of reckoning and the inflection point for the industry we've been very much waiting for.
Got it. Okay. Last question. What's the best way to get involved in AR, VR, MR, XR?
So my best bet would be to go onto the Unity website, the Unity Learn website to be precise, access all the learning content available on the website. Just learn as much as you can. It's got content which is across varied levels of proficiency. So you could be a beginner at an intermediate level or a professional, and you can easily get started with these technologies and get going.
Wonderful. You did it in the nick of time, 30 seconds left. Really, AR, VR in 2023? Because we were talking only a year ago saying, oh, it's 5 years, 10 years away. I mean, nobody's wearing these strange headsets for more than 20 minutes, probably in their lifetime. But you now think it's come forward 2 years. Why is that? You think Apple is the driver behind it?
Eventually, yes, Apple will be, but currently, if you see, my biggest bet has been, of course, the fact that the coronavirus pandemic has made it difficult for everyone to come together physically in real time. So definitely, there has been a need for virtual technologies, and I think, given the fact that 2020 was the year in which everyone was doing Zoom calls and video calls, the world will move towards a more virtual platform where you could be more immersive, and that's what XR technologies bring: the power of immersion. And I think that's where the real trend for the market will also kind of step in, and that's what I believe will drive massive adaptation at the user level, at a consumer level, come year 2023. And that's where I believe when Apple launches their hard headsets, it will make it consumer mainstream.
Wow, great. You did it. Quick fire round over and done with. We're going to move into the main discussion now. Nish, welcome back. Nish, take it away. Let's deep dive.
Yeah, so we're gonna now deep dive into the technology, Raman, right? So starting on, the key question I think I'm sure you get asked so many times: what is the difference between AR, VR, and MR?
Got it. So augmented reality is essentially the intertwining of the real and the virtual worlds in live real time. It happens when you have a digital device like a mobile device or a headset, and you try to consume digital content through that device, which is triggered by, let's say, something on a paper, which is called a marker, or it could happen without a marker as well, calling it markerless. So augmented reality is all about getting the virtual objects streamed in real time. Whereas on the other hand, virtual reality is essentially a simulation of a real world in a virtual environment. This virtual environment could be a 3D rendition of anything which you see around yourself. It could be a plant shop floor. It could be a real kind of a real estate building, or it could be anything. It could also be a real life video, essentially. So you could actually create a simulation of that, or you could stream a real life video. And you do that, you experience that in a headset, which shuts you off from the real world. So that's VR for you. And mixed reality is pretty much the overlap of augmented reality and virtual reality, where again, like VR, you wear a headset, but this time it's more of a smart glass where you can see through the real world through the eyes of the glasses. So just like you wear spectacles, you can wear those glasses and you can see the world, but with an advantage that you can see a lot of virtual objects around you. So when you wear those MR glasses, you actually see virtual objects in front of you alongside the real world. So these are the few differences between AR, VR, and MR. Very subtle, but very important, to, of course, as a discerning factor.
Just a quick one. Sorry, do you see it going to contact lenses? Do you see that being the quick head?
It is. It will. So augmented reality / mixed reality contact lenses are the future, and I think there have been a lot of patents which have been filed in this space, and a lot of companies making a beeline for making these contact lenses. I think definitely the one for the future. I'll still see them quite a bit far away, probably 5 to 7 years. But definitely, as you see more consumer grade headsets coming through, then you'll see these lenses also coming through. I think it's going to be the next dimension of ocular technologies.
Yeah. So, Raman, whenever we talk about these technologies, a lot of people have misconceptions that these are the technologies of the future. What are your thoughts? What is the tech maturity, and are they here now?
So I think augmented reality and virtual reality have been here for some time now. Both these technologies are technologies which are in vogue right now. They're pretty much in use. We use augmented reality on a daily basis when we hold a camera and take selfies and add filters to it. Apps like Snapchat and others, they do that very well. So I think AR is definitely there mainstream in our lives right now. Virtual reality, it's also beginning to play an impact, especially if you look at the gaming sector. Also, the industrial training sector is very much a fast and upcoming sector, where a lot of industries are using this as a training tool. The obvious advantage being that you could create pretty much simulated realities, which you cannot do in real life, and you could train them on VR. So definitely, they are also here to stay, and they're pretty much technologies which are being practiced now. Mixed reality, on the other hand, is one for the future. I would say it continues to evolve right now. It definitely needs more kind of innovation, more cycles of innovation to kind of come to a place where it starts getting mainstream. I still
Yep.
see that probably 3 to 4 years in the making. So that's my take. AR VR now, MR for the future.
Okay. And you guys have been in industry for last couple of years at least, and you are a B2B company, so you are actually justifying to businesses to spend money in these technologies. Do you want to share example use case or benefits that you've driven for your clients?
Definitely. So augmented reality, the way it all started for us was all about making clients understand and demonstrate their products using markers or doing it markerless. So definitely demonstration of products, as well as from a digital marketing perspective, these were some of the use cases which usually caught attention early in the early years when we were starting out. These were the years when you actually needed those eyeballs to get these technologies noticed, because it was so new and niche. And eventually, of course, we've kind of graduated to kind of and evolved, in fact, to kind of delivering more use cases in which you can deliver remote assistance and productivity, and essentially have live real time information of equipment on a manufacturing shop floor, and all that data which an equipment kind of produces. You could actually relay that on to an augmented reality application, and hence allows you to see through that equipment's behavior in real time. So I think that is one of the biggest pluses of augmented reality. More so, of course, if you look at not only just the productivity side of it, but training as well. So if you can have a virtual object of an equipment, a virtual rendition of an equipment, you can pretty much do a lot of virtual SOPs or training with training kind of practices on that particular virtual object in augmented reality. So
Yeah.
this is one of the great use cases again. On the virtual reality side, I think industrial training has been hands down our biggest use case. We've been doing that since 2014. We were the earliest ones to do that and deploy virtual reality solutions on industry shop floors in India. And we've realized that it's the actual practice of converting SOPs into a gamified, simulated virtual reality content with a lot of immersion and interactivity is something which allows the training time to be cut short. It makes the training activity much safer and scales it up fairly well.
Yeah.
So these use cases have been some of the most important ones, and the most the ones which have gathered the most amount of traction from our
Yeah,
perspective.
it's not only that, right? So
I'm just going to really quickly, sorry, Nish, but have you got any kind of comparison versus e-learning, the effectivity of an AR VR learning platform versus e-learning? What are you seeing?
Absolutely. So I think the biggest thing here is the way these use cases kind of the technologies work. The best part about AR and VR is that it is suited for scaling up, and when you scale things up, the costs go down. Now that's pretty much about economies of scale. So in such a context, if we talk about, and that's where it gets very exciting, and I'm really excited and I have a lot of passion when I say this, that at about 375 learners, virtual reality technology achieves cost parity with classroom training. And about 1,950 learners, close to about 2,000 learners, VR training achieves cost parity with e-learning. So anything which you do beyond it at scale, you're actually doing it at an ROI positive basis. So that I believe is one of the biggest cases for scaling up VR. I've been saying this for a long time, since 2016, that if VR has to be successful, it has to be scaled up. And it's not a catch-22 situation. It's as simple as that. If you're going for VR technology, do it at scale. Otherwise, you will never get the advantage of it. And the numbers are there to prove what I've just spoken about.
And it's not just that, right? Because you guys have also integrated sensors, haptic feedbacks, and data analytics into your VR training to make it more immersive, right?
Yeah.
So any words on that?
Definitely. So integrating sensors and haptics and developing simulators, installing a lot of trackers on real-time devices, such as objects which you can use for training and learning. These have been our USPs, and also marrying analytics with learning. This has been the biggest USP for us, really. So imagine if you could kind of learn where you went wrong on a report which gives you real-time analysis, or as well as a lot of other analysis such as your cognition, your psychometric skills, your behavioral attitude, your retina scan, all these sort of skills which are very granular in nature. And if you can get these skills, get these attributes out, and you know that how you're performing, it actually allows you to do better in the virtual environment. And hence, eventually, you become pretty much foolproof in the virtual world, and you don't make make any mistakes in the real world. And that is where virtual reality really steps up as a great technology for learning.
Great. So, when we talk about these technologies, people often think it's very expensive to get started in this industry. What are your views on that?
In terms of the costs, or you talk about
the cost of pilots getting started?
Yeah. So the cost of pilots, I think now it's pretty much a misnomer. I think it's a myth, especially in AR and VR. I think the scale at which you're doing things, AR and VR are not expensive. As I just gave some numbers on achieving cost parity with e-learning and traditional learning technologies, I think the hardware devices themselves aren't too expensive these days. So there's definitely not an excuse for not using these technologies. Whereas on the mixed reality element, yes, I would say the cost of hardware is a bit too high, so it becomes a bit prohibitive. However, I think to start with, I think of course, starting out with a few pilots which don't make it much expensive, of course, especially on generic use cases such as health and safety, basics and operations. I think you could get started without breaking the bank essentially. And I think it's all about knowing the hardware, the infrastructure, because if the AR and VR technologies can slip in to your existing infrastructure, then you don't have to spend more marginal cost in terms of adding onto that layer of infrastructure. So I think definitely, thinking scale, thinking how immersive technologies can actually work for you in the long run at scale, these would be my pointers.
And that's a great point. So how does someone get started with this?
Great question. So as a developer, I think if you're trying to get started, of course, VR is a very kind of it's something which requires a fairly holistic approach in terms of user experience, 3D modeling, great design, coding, of course, is the essence. But also, a great VR experience is backed by a great storyboard and engineering SME knowledge. So we can't discount any of them. But however, if you're a developer and if you just want to get going and start building certain applications, you can get started with a bit of a coding knowledge in C++, knowledge how to work around a game development engine like Unity, which is fairly easy and very basic to use. And on a client perspective, if you're trying to get started, it's very important and crucial to know the sort of hardware and infrastructure required to get XR going. And these are the sort of skills which you need essentially to scale your own kind of, not only the XR technology itself, but also your own knowledge in terms of how to get started and, of course, build your experience going on. So, yeah.
Great, Ron. I think, I think that definitely clarifies a lot about the AR, VR, XR technology and where it stands today. Andy, do you go to the audience now?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's see what questions we've had come in. We've had quite a bundle come in. One of the first ones was before you even came on, which was from Elena. What's the best way for engineering and or manufacturing organizations to introduce XR, AR, VR?
I think the best way could be to look at use cases such as, of course, if you want to go the platform way, then you can start looking at platforms which are performing productivity improvements or delivering remote assistance as a solution. So that means you can straight away get that going without much customization or bespoke work. That requires you to, of course, and it won't require too much of an infrastructure as well to set it up. You can straight away get going with a few smart glasses like the HoloLens or the RealWear devices or Vuzix devices. And I think these are very popular and very robust devices which can be used. After the hardware, then you need to look at the software pieces, get access to a platform or a subscription service which can offer you a lot of advantages in terms of connecting people together, giving them access to a kind of troubleshooting guides which happen in real time. So this could be a great starting point. And if you're looking at virtual reality for training, then you could look at kind of subscriptions to software providers who have done these use cases in generically across the range. So use cases like safety, health and safety, which is pretty much paramount in industries all over. It's very, very universal. So it doesn't really have to be different for every plant. You could look at introducing these technologies and giving the employees a feel of what it is to kind of kind of leverage these technologies and see what benefits they can give you. And once you're successful, of course, you can, the sky's the limit. You can do a lot of bespoke projects and scale it up, and that's how you can get going.
Good. Very good. Okay, let's see the next question. I've got one from Josias. What are the employment opportunities today and in the future?
Right. So I think in XR, the best part about XR is that it requires a lot of job roles to come together to create that perfect XR experience. So right from engineering SME knowledge to creating the right storyboard, to building the right user experience, to having the right user interface, to having the right set of animations, 3D models. So there are a lot of job opportunities which actually come along by trying to build XR experiences. So you could try to pick your bet, the best piece which you feel which you're conversant with, be it on the modeling side, be it on the user experience side or the user interface design side, and accordingly you can pick your bet. If you're good at coding, I would say definitely go for development. If you're good at subject matter expertise and you want to leverage the storyboard piece of that of the work to start with, and then you can get started with it and get your way into these technologies. So yes, a lot of opportunities, definitely.
Great. Good. Let's take the next one. Next question we got come in from Shabtibel. What will the technology use case look like in 2 years? So what could industry, what could consumers look like in about 10 years' time? Your predictions, your crystal ball.
My biggest one would be having a metaverse or a universe of people pretty much in VR trying to communicate and doing things in VR. That'll be my biggest use case. I think if you could spend like pretty much every day and every second of your life in VR eventually in 5-10 years time, that'll be the ultimate wish, so that the industry grows and everyone grows along with it. That'll be my wish. And the biggest
you would never travel, you would never move. Everybody would,
yeah. Net emission zero can definitely be achieved then.
I have a running joke in the office whenever I see our developers in VR. I just love it, and I just let them stay in VR. Let us all stay in the real world. So it's more like the concept of staying in VR and loving it, not getting out of it.
Plugged in. I got it. All right, we'll see the next one come through. What do we got? Looks like we got from Umi. How has, I think we probably touched on it a little bit, but how has COVID accelerated the use of extended reality?
Exponentially, I would say. I think the market trends which were shaped up for 2025, 26 have now been accelerated by 2 years to 2023. The market sizes have pretty much gone off the roof, off the charts. The usage now, currently, I can say a lot of companies are shifting focus. Industrial remote assistants doing remote inspections, checklists, audits remotely, and all these use cases. Training, of course, is one of the big use cases across industries. Consumer use cases of augmented reality in commerce. I think it's the e-commerce wave is now slowly transitioning into an e-commerce wave, which is pretty much about augmented reality assisted commerce. So I think this is something which I believe these are some of the tremendous use cases which have really been accelerated as a result of COVID, because that's what we can do sitting at home, really. So getting access to the virtual side of it is the best bet.
Great. Good. I think we got a new question come in from Saravana. The development and implementation of XR solutions and devices are extremely expensive. I know we touched on that, but what are all the quickest solutions to overcome this?
So as I said, being expensive is a bit of a myth right now in VR, especially. I think it's important to look at technologies at scale. I think VR becomes cheaper as you scale, so there's a bit of a catch-22 there. However, having said that, like I said earlier, access to platforms which can offer you at least a multi-user collaboration sync or ready-made content which you can leverage off the shelf, which is not expensive to do, that will push down your costs to start with. And if you find the use and if you find the relevance coming through, then scale up and go for the full kind of experience.
Yeah, I think also the development cost. It might be expensive for an individual, which might be correct, but it's not expensive for enterprise solutions, especially the use cases and the ROI that you look at. But as we progress, I think, as we know, with Oculus and with Mark Zuckerberg's vision as well, trying to enable VR more, the cost of these headsets are getting cheaper and cheaper. So it is, I truly believe that with that and platforms such as Unity, where you can, as an individual, get at a very low cost, even free developer accesses or trial accesses as well. As a student, you can get developer accesses. So I think all of that starts to also reduce and the cost of individuals getting into this to build up their own skills, where these will be required and are required now by traditional industries. Which previously, you would have never imagined a gaming engineer in a manufacturing industry.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
I think we've got one last question, which I'm determined to ask. So we've been talking contact lenses. It's a step away from potentially the singularity. When do you see that coming? Do you see that coming?
I see that coming probably 5-7 years down the line. I'm just waiting for the Apple device to come out. I'm waiting for the Apple's device to come out in 2023. That's going to be the real thing, which will create the flutter in the market, which is needed. Then possibly we can look into these the contact lenses piece. But yeah, it'll come soon. My bet is 5 years from now. Safe bet.
Okay.
But I probably feel that Apple's entry into the space might accelerate that. So let's see.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I think the AI singularity, on the other hand, it's probably a little bit further off. But I mean, if you're following OpenAI's research and DeepMind's research on their relevant AIs and how you're able to, with OpenAI, write a piece of text and generate images, I mean, all those things can show the potential that AGIs are not that far away.
Wow. Here we go. Raman, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, sir, for all your time and for getting involved in this. It sounds like you are really in the right place, and you've got in early by the looks of it in the relative scheme of things, and it's obviously paying off for you. And I think COVID, it's been bad for many, but it sounds like it's been a real accelerator for your business, amongst other things, and certainly given visibility of it. So again, thank you, sir. Much appreciated you being on the show.
Pleasure was all mine. Thanks, Andrew. It was wonderful.
Yes, indeed. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone, let's look forward now. Nish, next time around, what have we got coming up? What's your plan? What are you thinking?
So as we touched upon just towards the end about AI, ML, that is what we're going to be exploring. What does that mean in the context of an industry? Demystifying what's real, what is achievable, but also what the ambition should be around that. And we will have somebody, we won't tell who at this moment, who has a lot more knowledge on that, sharing their vision and experience with AI with us on the next show.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. It was a new format. It's a new show. And as Nish has just explained, we are going AI, ML in industry, manufacturing next time around. Have a great few days ahead. Thanks for joining us. Look forward to catching up next time around. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Nish.